It was a full moon in the middle of June in the summer of '59. I was young and cool and shot a bad game of pool and hustled all the chumps I could find. But now they call me sport, cause I pushed the balls short and loved all the women to death. I partied hard and packed a mean rod and could knock it out with a right or left. I had learned to shoot pool playing hooky from school at the tender age of 9, and by the time I was 11 I could pad roll 7 it down a whole quart of wine. I was making it a point to smoke me a joint at least once during the course of the day, and I was snorting skag while other kids played tag and my elders went to church to pray. Yes, I was pitching pennies and down bennies, played the horses at the track. I wanted cards against tremendous odds, and my favorite game was blackjack. I seldom lost cause my game was so boss. I had my shit down packed, and I was running through bitches like rags to riches, cause that's where my heart was at. Yes, I was a down stud's dream, a hustler supreme. There wasn't no game that I couldn't play, and if I caught a dude cheating, I would give him a beating, and I might even blow him away. Now my ace boom poon was a young boy named Spoon, my crime partner from the block. He had served a bullet and a deuce, and now they were cutting him loose from a joint they called the Rock. We had hung out as kids, serving alternate bids in various reform schools and jails. He was like my kid brother. We had helped one another till he got busted for some stolen goods sales. When he finally came back on the scene, his wardrobe was lean, so I bought him some vines of his own. Then we lit up some smoke and snorted some coke, and I dug how the brother had grown. He was bigger and meaner, and his mind was much keener. He had earned a rep with his hands, thus he was eager to compete with the hustlers on the street, for my man had ambitious plans. So I loaned him a yard and copped him a rod, a 38 blue steel piece. Then we went to the Cafe Black Rose to party with some hoes, and for dinner we ordered a feast. Now just about everybody goes to the Cafe Black Rose to drink, party, and eat. And if you ain't down, you better not hang around, else you sure as hell will get beat. Now the grease is nice and at a decent price, and all the bitches is fine. The jazz is so sweet, you'll be tapping your feet while sipping on a cold glass of wine. You can cop you a bag of reefer or skag, or even some coke or some hash, but don't ask for no credit, cause they'll tell you forget it, cause hustlers only deal in cold cash. Now we had just finished greasing when the bitches started teasing for us to split and lay. Spoon's cut collar was tight, which is understandably right after serving 3 years and a day. Quit had our heads spinning just thinking about winning, but we maintained a silent stare. The main hustler's rule was don't blow your cool, so we acted like we didn't care. But I knew this was it as I watched grit split, contemplating what all this meant. Man, I had saved my money like a bee stored honey, just laying to make this event. Spoon let me know that he was ready to go, so we anteed up and split. We went to a Southside hotel called the Fires of Hell and proceeded to cop a little bit. Now the time flew by and it was soon July as the days grew funky and hot. But me and Spoon, we played it cool, and I taught him how to shoot pool so he could soon sink 3 in one shot. I kept him under wraps so he had mastered shooting craps and could deal a winning hand. We would practice all day, then at night we would play poker, talk, and coon can. Soon Spoon got good at his old new livelihood, and now we were ready to deal. There was money to be made in this here hustler's trade, and soon it would be for real. We gave Grit a ring the day before the thing to let him know that we'd be there. But it was early in the morning and Grit was still yawning, and all he could say was, yeah! Me and my man Spoon, we went shopping that noon to cop us some fronts for the set. We needed some vines that would blow their minds, plus give us all the finesse we could get. We went to a tailor named Wong who sold silks from Hong Kong and could sew a suit on your back. I cut me a 4-button rose, spun Spoon a silk gold. Then we split in our beige Cadillac. We went to Baby Blues to cop our shoes, some comfort, split toes, and canes. Blues smuggles in ships, which makes overseas trips while hustling big company lanes. We rapped for a while, then left Blues in style, sporting our brand new kicks. We went to a hatter named Knox and copped some straw diamond blocks, then split by the 5:45. We wined and dined and prepared our minds for the task that laid ahead. Jumped super clean and split to the scene, smoking Panamanian red. Now you can feel all the tension building up at the convention as the hustlers began to arrive. Must have been 9,000 or more that came through the door. The time was 11:55. Now there were pickpockets and dope peddlers, murderers and thieves, card shark gamblers with aces up their sleeves, bank robbers, burglars, boosters and pimps, prostitutes, call girls, and all kinds of nymphs, loan sharks, swindlers, counterfeiters and fences, crooked politicians suspending campaign expenses, hijackers, arsonists, bookies and the mob, and anybody else who ever killed, cheated, or robbed. An ex-pug named Brown proceeded to pat us down while this fine broad checked our hat. Grit nodded to him slightly. Brown checked us down lightly, treating us like diplomats. Brown let us slide, so we stepped inside with our 38 strapped to our chest. Without making a sound, we slowly looked around and scoped on all the rest of the guests. Ham Hawk's Hall was big, so there was a whole lot to dig. As our eyes swiftly scanned the place, the decor was fly, and everybody looked high as I focused on a familiar face. It was Stingy Brim Slim and his crime partner Jim, two hustlers from a long ways back. They were dressed to the bone, and their reputations were well known as bag men on kilos of smack. They were rapping with Big Bill Wheeler, international dope dealer, about who was going to win tonight. It seems Bill had bet a grand on a hustler named Van, who supposedly had his shit up tight. Me and Spoon, we just grinned as we continued to pin to see who else was there. We spotted finger-popping Teddy and his call girl Betty, whose perfume had lit up the air. Now I recalled in the past how Teddy's rep had spread fast, and being so swift with his hands, from a wallet in your pocket to a ring watch or locket, and he specialized in expensive brands. Now Betty was said could kill a gray boy in bed and make the chump submit. They would come before they came, then she would pickpocket the lame while telling him that he wasn't shit. Now my eyes caught the glimpse of two superfly pimps who had just come through the door. I could tell they were down from out of town just by the clothes that they wore. Like a peacock's parade, they strutted around in silk slacks, handmade, sporting tan alligator shoes, decked out in colorful shirts of pink, yellow, and red, stitched with a gold and blue thread, and acting like they couldn't lose. Spoon and I were impressed by the way these cats were dressed and how smooth they seemed to be. But there was one thing we knew for sure, is that there couldn't be no draw between us masters of streetology. We didn't find out till later from a booster named Ada the monikers that these cats went by. They were known as Spongy Cork from out of Harlem, New York, and his partner Chicago Shy. By now, the champagne was flowing and the big band was blowing as the musicians gave it all they had. Some cats were dancing, others were romancing, but everybody's head was bad. Now the joint was packed back to back, and the hustlers were eager to begin. They were ready to play from night to day because all of them wanted to win. There were proper rooms in the rear, at the top of the stairs, for the studs who wanted to lay. But the main set was below for the cats with the dough and the hustlers who had came there to play. We were now ready to oppose our illustrious foes as we headed downstairs to the set. It was 1:15, and the players had already begun bidding on their opening bets. We shot craps first since there was no limit on the purse and we could bet as much as we pleased. I bet 5 yards. Spoon took on all odds, making his first 7 with ease. We now had 5 yards to spend, so I made the same bet again as I watched the bones fly from Spoon's hands. It just missed hitting 7, but the 6-5 made 11, doubling our 5 yards to a grand. I went on to bet the whole grand, which was faded by Van, the hustler whom Big Bill thought would score. Spoon rolled an off-balance 5 and made a self-appear jive, but sank Van into betting 4 more. There were equal bets around the table that Spoon wouldn't be able to make his 5 and survive, but he made his point, fooling everyone in the joint, and kept his streak alive. Van was now visibly upset, upped his bet, doubling his 5,000 to 10, but there was nothing he could do against a 5 and a 2, except watch his Spoon did it again. Van got mad and bet everything he had, tried to save some face, but the 3 and the 4 left him permanently poor, and my man had to leave the place. We had made 20 G's, bringing Van to his knees before Spoon surrendered the dice. He had scored so bad that everybody got scared and didn't want to try him twice. A few other studs rolled, but their games was cold, and soon they all blew their dough. The only dude that seemed ready was finger-popping Teddy, and now it was his turn to throw. He picked up the dice and blew on them twice and hollered out, "Get a better grand. My bucks is long and my game is strong, and I'll take on any man." I faded his bet, to my regret, as I watched him throw 52. But he switched the dice, and that wasn't nice, only he didn't know I knew. Yes, his fingers was fast as he had slipped the stuff past the eyesight of everybody there. But being true to his name, I had peeped on his game, and my man wasn't playing fair. I decided to let him play, rather than betray his secret to the rest of the crowd. Only the end of his game just wouldn't be the same after I blew his cool out loud. I let him breeze through 5 more G's before I made my move. I then tripled the bet and watched him sweat, wondering what I was trying to prove. He sensed that I knew what he'd been trying to do and figured he better lose, cause it was self-defeating to get caught cheating and he didn't want to pay the dues. So I wasn't surprised when he rolled snake eyes and acted like he had made a mistake. He had played it smart, so I let him depart without revealing that his trick bones were fake. It would have meant his death had I exposed his theft, but this was a hustler's law. They would have shot him dead and took all his bread if I had told him what was really the score.